Okay, so hello and welcome. So we're on class 3 through our exploration of springtime through trees and walking and finding connections. And the first two are very much focused on strengths and kind of earthing, anchoring. This week we will be focusing more on what I kind of like to call an aspect of kind of being a flexible human being in terms of open-heartedness is kind of the thing for this week. So compassion and gratitude, but maybe looking at it through um, a slightly different perspective. So see how you find this, and if you need to go down a different track but on a similar thing, please take your own journey. So to start, as we often do, just take if you can access a view of the real world from your spot on the world and your view of the world as it is. And perhaps as a focus for that connection to the earth as it is, then maybe kind of seeing through the eyes of energy of the season. So springtime being one of growth. So see if that gives you a way to see the world maybe differently. Energy from any movement is an obvious one, but also the change in growth that you've seen, the green, flowers, maybe if you've got flowers, changing colour of the grass, which might be partly a result of the dry weather we've got. So energies will change and everything's responding to everything. So it's not a fixed thing. So energy doesn't just come from the earth as it is. It needs the rain in the sky and it needs support in numbers of ways. So growth isn't guaranteed. And the way things grow will vary with the conditions of the time. So just getting a sense of the energy from the light, from the time of day. Okay, so finding a happy seat, whether that's closer to the floor or on a chair, and trying to find a position that you know you can feel comfortable with for 20 minutes-ish or so. And recognizing that if you're not comfortable, you need to get comfortable and finding this kind of happy sweet spot between kind of being relaxed, but also being alive to like the energy of the season, alive to the now, and following a little bit of the journey, maybe. So doing that in your own way. So you might need to move in order to settle. And when you feel settled, if you're a person that closes their eyes, then close their eyes. If not, just try and lower the gaze so that we don't become too distracted by our visual world and instead take a more internal journey. And being gentle with ourselves, knowing that we're going to come in and come out of this kind of experience of quiet connection, and that some days are easier than others. And just smile if thoughts are taking you away and encourage your return to the inquiries that we might be making. Okay. So initially finding your connection with the earth, and I'm suggesting that's kind of like a very much a body connection. So you feel the weight of the body connected to the ground, with its bottom on the chair, feet connection with the ground. It's the feeling of the whatever floor you have below you, that real kind of sense of what that feels like underneath the feet. And having a sense of breathing into and out of the earth. So it's a visualization thing, an imaginary thing to find a connection between our own living, breathing body and the living, breathing earth below, which may be below, 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 depending where we are in our own home. So if it's easier to kind of imagine yourself in um, the setting beyond your home, imagining the garden space or space nearby. To get that sense of breathing in from the earth and receiving and breathing out and giving to the earth. So this kind of reciprocity, can't get math around that today, reciprocal deal. And as we do that, recognizing what the earth kind of represents to us, maybe this idea of stability, groundedness, calm, peace, maybe, yeah, maybe lots of other things as well. But there's a possibility of feeling anchored and connected between us, our breathing body, and the living earth. That we can be anchored by kind of imagining that feeling to a degree, and we can be anchored by being in nature, walking, sitting, viewing, participating in some way on land, maybe on water. And our great connection with the trees, the woods, the forests. So as you start to get a connection with trees, forest, just see how that kind of resonates in the body. So do you feel that somewhere in the trunk, in the belly, around the heart? Does it create a sense of opening towards minded, more open-hearted, more available, more a sense full of compassion and gratitude? Is it the silence that might draw you to the tree and the trees? Is it the shadows? Is it a sense of protection? Is it something you can't quite name? Something may not be able to give words to, but it's a feeling somewhere in the body. It's a connection with the breath. It's a connection to how we think and feel, how available we are, how open we are. So if there's any of this that doesn't feel kind of relatable or whatever reason struggling with the focus today, then you can always come back to feeling the breath in the belly, the movement of the breath, and having that sense of breathing in the earth and breathing out to give back to the earth. So we're going to take a visual exploration in our mind, and we're going on a walk. And if you want to keep to the walking on grass with the feet free, then you can do that. But if you feel that's kind of not what you need or doesn't kind of feel a great resonance, then you can be walking through a landscape that is somehow connecting to you. So it might be a real landscape, it might be a mixture of real and unreal. It might be a collection of memories of landscapes that are um, dear to you in some way. So what we're looking at is how we can imagine ourselves walking on land, on the earth, moving, an energy to movement, and an energetic connection to the ground through each foot on the earth. So we both have the feet on the earth and we have our eyes and our ears alive to the space and spaces we're in and the changes moment by moment. So to walk is to gather treasure. It's a Spanish saying. It's one of the quotes from Robert Macfarlane's The Old Ways when he's taking a pilgrimage, in inverted commas, walk on the Camino de Santiago. And that's just one of the things he picks up as a way of walking not just being a functional thing, yeah, to get from place to place, but walking being such a great offering to us. So we may not all be in a position right now to feel comfortable in walking or doing as much walking as we would like to do. I know some of you are on journeys to do great walks, to do long walks, and walks with a purpose. So recognizing that a walk is not a walk, as you keep imagining yourself maybe in a landscape and walking through that landscape, and how it makes you feel. So obviously, a long walk is tiring on the body, but there are moments, particularly if there is something that we can open to in that environment that will just take us out of that stress or strain. And also at the beginning of walks, once we've kind of walked and got used to being outdoors and in the earth, there's that period usually when we're very open, we're relaxed, we're not tired, we're very available, and it can be special. It might be somewhere we know really, really well, but every day, every moment is different. It can be somewhere new to us. It can just be a lovely day where all the conditions seem to be right, or just different to what we are familiar with. So it feels like a new sense of the experience. So we're walking one foot at a time. We're really feeling our feet and our connection with the earth. And from time to time, we're taking in the wider landscape and listening in to the sounds of that landscape. You might be feeling the breeze on the skin, the sun on the face, maybe. You might be aware of light changing, shadows, in and out shadows, maybe from the clouds or from trees we pass, under or by or through forests or woods. Might be that we like to travel by rivers, by waterways, by the coast. Might be we like the earth on one side and the sea on the other side, or a river or canal or whatever. So just as we walk, and an opportunity to recognize the privilege and the treasure of being able to walk. So people are restricted in their abilities to walk through disability, temporary or more long term, through injury, and through other restrictions. Yeah, so I mentioned in my kind of email introduction, politically, people are restricted, or governments restrict space of where we're allowed to go. But certainly, for most, for the UK, we're very lucky in terms of the spaces we can walk in, and we can be grateful for that privilege from people who've taken action in the past, kinder trespass, and people who created routes, roads, paths to give us that privilege of being able to be in landscape, part of landscape, and to put one foot in front of another and to be open. Find that on the whole peaceful, life affirming, and connecting. So as we walk, we can walk for others. We can walk for others who maybe can't walk quite so easily as us. So even if we can't walk right now, we can sit on a bench or sit in the garden, maybe if you have access to that, or in a park, and you can reimagine the walking that you've done in the past. You can still be in a landscape and feel the earth beneath your feet. So we can send our heartfelt compassion to those who can't access or have very limited access to the landscape, to walk in the land. Send our love, our concern, wish them well. So we often send compassion to people we love. We just do that. Just do that. We might send compassion to some people who we don't know that well, but are kind of around in our lives. But it can be a bit more difficult to send compassion sometimes to those that we don't really have any contact with, we don't maybe know, we might know of, we might have a sense of, in perhaps farther away places who are confined by war or some form of traumatic relationship with the areas that they can be free. So if we now take our imaginings more specifically into an area of trees, so it might be park, it might be a wood, it might be a forest, it might be on a hilltop, it might be lower down in a valley, but we're very much kind of enveloped by, surrounded by, connected to and supported by the trees around us. And as we walk through or sit in or touch, connect, lie down, by, sit with our back palm. Then we're conscious of the trees and we reconnect to how that is in our body. How that again might open our hearts, open our minds, connect to a deeper sense. And from that heart space, that open space, we're looking to find gratitude. And as I say that, just noting again where in the body gratitude might sit or be felt. And again, choosing not the obvious to be grateful about or for. Choosing people that we're just a little bit distant from, or even we don't know. So it might be, the people that keep the park clean and tidy and plan things out. So lots of our parks are changing, more trees, maybe being planted, more spaces are supported by volunteers, paths on canals are cleared and banks are supported. Forests are managed. So it can go beyond the gratefulness for caring for the landscape, but that can be a focus. So it can be all the people that volunteer to make the land, the climate sustainable for us all. The other people behind the scenes. Can be other things that connect us maybe to landscape in different ways. I've mentioned the book I'm reading, might be artwork, maybe music, or creation, creative spaces that we find to be in landscape when we're not in landscape, to be open-hearted, to feel that sense in the body. So the last few moments as maybe we wander through the forest, all the trees, all the leaves, all the branches are like all the supporting cast in our life of support that we're interdependent on, and they're quietly in the background. People we might see, people we never see, people we know about, people we don't know about. At some point, time to leave the forest and return home. Home back to where the immediate landscape is around our home, with a sense of that, and then being home and coming back to being where we are, where we're seated, where we're connected to the ground. where we're breathing, where we're giving energy to the earth, where we're receiving energy from the earth, where we feel a connection with the open-hearted, open-mindedness, something we can mine and find, rediscover, explore. And being aware of any noises in the room, out in the house, the space, outdoor space, and opening the eyes when you're ready. Looking at the day, the light, a little bit of movement if you need to awaken again to your day. Okay, so if you need more time to sit and just come around, to move a little bit more, then do. Maybe to just look out a little bit more, or to have a drink and settle a bit longer, then do if you have that opportunity. And I will be back next week for class 4. So have a happy week and see you then. Thanks for joining.